Thanks for making time for us. So, Governor Ben, your meeting is roughly about 48 hours away. This debate whether or not you're going to move 25 or 50 basis points, what's really going to change between now and then? My question is, why not just go 50?
Well, originally we're planning to cut by 25 basis points, but given the synchronized monetary easing globally, U.S. by 150 basis points, right? And then Japan, or rather New Zealand, 75 basis points. South Korea, 50 basis points. Now, we're inclined, and I think I've talked with other monetary board members, we're inclined to cut by 50 basis points on Thursday. We decided against an off-cycle meeting since it's only 2 days away, so we decided that maybe we'll meet on Thursday and, we agree on the cut by 50 basis points.
How much monetary space does the central bank have now to weather a possible fallout? Or are you starting to look at other different types of tools, Governor?
No, we still have a lot of monetary space. Rather in 2018, the central bank raised the policy rate by 175 basis points. So as of last cycle, we reduced it already by 100 basis points. So we still have a lot of space. Plus, inflation looks good given the collapse of the oil prices. So we have a lot of not only monetary space but also fiscal space. And we recognize that at this point probably a coordinated move by both the monetary authorities and national government will be more effective. In other words, we would expect the national government to also use their fiscal space. We have a very low debt to GDP ratio, around 40% and falling. And so we can actually maybe fund a supplemental budget in the light of the coronavirus incident.
Governor Ben, you're also, of course, the regulator for the banking sector, and we understand there's a quote-unquote lockdown, of course, not just in Manila now, it's spread to the whole island of Luzon. The banking sector and banks remain open. Although my question to you is, they've basically shut platforms to trade currencies, bonds, the stock market, something else. I'm just wondering, have you heard from your banks any concern how they're planning to offer FX and currency services to their clients if they can't trade?
Yeah, we're getting chatter about that. Because this is the first day of the implementation of the enhanced community surveillance quarantine, and so naturally there are some birth pains where we have communicated their concern to the palace, and later this afternoon we'll iron it out and we'll probably fix it by tomorrow.
Governor, the brokers group has appealed for markets to reopen. Do you think what the government did was a sensible move? Do you think markets should markets stay open? The concern here is really to delay the spread of the virus, and so the palace is concerned that we would like to limit the movement of people in Luzon. As you know, geographically, the Philippines has 3 major islands: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and so the whole Luzon has been we can call it a shutdown. But at the moment, I think it's working. The concern is to limit the movement of people, right? And so classes were suspended, government offices, non-essentials were suspended. Also, private sector limited movement of people in general. And to the extent that we succeed in this in this strategy, then we can expect a sharp recovery, maybe a V-shaped recovery. But to the extent that it fails, then we might have maybe an elongated U-shaped recovery. So the important thing is we focus on the safety first of Filipinos. We want this coronavirus crisis solved as soon as possible.
Governor Diokno, a few days ago, and admittedly this is a moving target, of course, the assessment on economic growth and what the worst case may be and who knows really. A few days ago you mentioned a growth rate of 6%, if I'm not mistaken, worst case. Is that a target or is that an aspiration?
No, I think that's a very realistic target. Before this crisis, we were looking at 6.5 to 7.5, so midpoint is 7. So our assessment is to the extent possible under the worst scenario, the growth will slow down by 1 percentage point. So 6% looks reasonable as a target. And this could be even our medium target. We can grow at this rate given our fundamentals this year and for the next 2 years.
How is the government cushioning the impact from the shutdown here? What steps do you think are needed to mitigate the negative impact from this closure? And how much help is needed for some of the most vulnerable sectors?
The characteristic of the Philippines is that it's not really part of that supply chain. We're not an export-oriented country. Tourism is not a big part of our GDP. So we're kind of probably one of the least affected of this coronavirus concern. But as I said, we have to look at our own people, the safety of our own people, and our focus right now should be the earliest resolution of this within the Philippines. So luckily, we're surrounded by water, as you know, and so as long as we can control the movement of people within Luzon initially, and hopefully there are only, I was looking at the number of incidents, very few incidents. 12 deaths at the moment, and so as long as we succeed in our strategy right now, we will be okay.
Governor, final question. About 5 days ago, your office sent a statement out that you've self-quarantined as a precautionary measure as well, and back then the statement read that you're not manifesting any symptoms as well. I hope you don't mind me asking, how are you feeling, sir, and have you been tested?
I've been tested. I've been tested last Friday afternoon, but there are no results yet. It's being processed. I feel well, perfectly well. So that's it. I'm just waiting for the results.